Hey.
Hello.
We're back again.
We are.
With something new.
Yes, I'm super excited.
I am too. You know, both of us, you know, in this our seasons of life, even though different, we've had to really learn how to trust.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
I was really struggling, and I was like, I know I need to trust you, Lord. Trust, trust, trust. So I'm going to sit down and I'm going to study trust. And Proverbs 3 popped up, and it's just a good study.
Yeah.
Even though it's our own.
Yes.
So, yeah, trust. Trust is one of those things that, let me see, I'm going to read the definition. Let's see if I have it right here. I had it written down. Trust, trust, trust. Firm belief, okay? Confidence, belief, faith. Believe in the reliability of, you know.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
Context.
And for us is God.
It is God.
Right, through Jesus Christ.
Yes.
We believe in Him and we trust Him.
Yes.
And I just have to do better with that.
Yeah.
And of course, Mr. Smarty Solomon.
The wise guy.
The wise guy. He wanted wisdom, and he truly had it. And didn't use it later in his life very well.
That happens a lot with those, people.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes you get off track, right?
Yes.
And you remember his father's David.
Yes.
His mother's Bathsheba.
Yes.
Yes. And Proverbs, they are like a parable.
Yeah.
And you have to think about them, and it's like, sometimes to me it's like a puzzle.
It is.
It is, yeah.
It's wise words that you have to understand and, yeah.
Sometimes take it apart and put it back together.
Yeah, make sure you're understanding it correctly. And,
and I think some of the words I got was, prudent instruction, understanding, insightful sayings are Proverbs. So we... so Proverbs 3. Yeah. I did want to, that's where I knew I got that information from somewhere, and this is it. In Proverbs 1, it tells me that.
Perfect.
Yeah, so let me just say this.
Okay.
The Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel, for learning wisdom and discipline, for understanding insightful sayings, for receiving prudent instruction, in righteousness, in justice, and integrity, for teaching shrewdness to the inexperienced, knowledge and discretion to a young man. Yeah. Let a wise person listen. And it goes on. Yeah. I knew I got that from somewhere.
It was just earlier in the book.
It was earlier in Proverbs, and I was like, oh, I had that, but then I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I think the amazing thing with these Proverbs, we say that it's written by an Old Testament king thousands of years ago, but it's just as relevant today as it was back then.
We're going to find out, aren't we?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, it's going to hit us hard.
It is, because trust is every day. Yeah. Trust that, trust.
Nothing new under the sun.
That's right. And so we're going to read the 4 verses, and then we'll talk about them. Yeah. Here we go.
All right, so we have Proverbs 3, verses 1 through 4. My son, do not forget my teaching, but let your heart keep my commandments. For length of days and years of life and peace they will add to you. Let not steadfast love and faithfulness forsake you. Bind them around your neck. Write them on the tablet of your heart, so you will find favor and good success in the sight of God and man.
There you go. Yeah. When I was looking at it, and I was writing this, not expecting to do a study on it, but I wrote in my journal, I said, Elicia. Elicia, don't forget all that you've been taught and learned about God. Yeah. Because that's what is being said. Yeah. And so when you have gathered over the years, you glean and you learn, and sometimes you learned it way back when, but he's telling me, don't forget all that you've been taught.
It's relevant throughout your whole entire life.
It is. So what I learned in the beginning of my walk with Jesus is just as relevant as it was today. It is today.
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Yep. And so that's kind of the first part. That's just the first sentence. That's just the first sentence. And there's more. But then he says, but let your heart keep my commandments. Mm-hmm. So we're going to stop at that spot.
Okay.
Because let your heart keep my commandments. Yeah. And so, we will, I think this is where we wanted to bring out the fact that later on in the Bible, in the New Testament, I think it's Hebrews 11:15. Is that where I was thinking of? Or maybe I need to read that later, but I'm going to read it right now because it's telling us to let your heart keep my commandments. Yeah. And then, I remember this verse because we've had some conversations recently because he tells us in Hebrews 10:15, I will put my laws on their hearts and write them on their minds.
Yeah, and I think that's the amazing difference between like Old Testament and New Testament. Like Old Testament, still, now we have to study His Word and everything, but now we have the Holy Spirit.
That's right.
And God is able to give us His Spirit inside of us, so that way it's a lot easier to inscribe those things onto our hearts.
Yeah.
And we're leaning on Him to do that.
That's right.
And we're working with Him to do that, not just trying to memorize things and do things on our own. And
because we know that the next kind of point, a part of that, is the fact that Jesus said, because somebody goes, the Pharisees go, so what is the commandments, right?
Yeah, what's the greatest commandment?
Yeah, what's the greatest commandment?
Oof.
We have 10. Which one do you want us to follow? The one that talks about honoring our parents, or the one that talks about God, honoring Him?
Which one is it?
Which one?
Yeah, they like to trip them up a lot.
Yeah, they do. So they did. They tried anyway, but they tried. Yeah. But this is Matthew 22:36 through 38. It says, "Teacher, which command in the law is the greatest?" He said to them, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the greatest and most important command. The second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself." And all the law and prophets depend on these two commands. See, so we go back to the fact that love God, love your neighbor, all reflects the Old Testament 10.
It does. It does. You take the first four, and it's all things to love God.
Yeah.
And the last 6, there we go, math.
Did I say it right? Is that the right number? Yeah.
I think so.
I think so.
They are the ones that just talk about how to love your neighbor. So ultimately, just love them, and you will follow those commandments.
That's right. Love. What the world needs now is love, right? Love, sweet love.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, and so love is
central.
It's central. It's the point. It's the thing. And
and remembering and keeping His commandments is not just about the memory aspect. It's about actually being obedient to those laws and to that to that love. Yeah. In both outward things and in your heart. And then we see later in Proverbs, 4:23, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it.
That's right.
That's why He wants us to write them on our hearts.
Right. When we believe in Jesus Christ and we accept Him as our personal Savior, He puts the Holy Spirit, just joins His little spot where it was always made for Him. Yes. And that's how we know. Yeah. That's how we know right from wrong. And I know, and this is what's so cool about it. But let your heart keep my commands, for they will bring you. So there's if you do this, then they will bring you many days, a full life, and well-being. Yeah. You aren't necessarily living forever on this earth. Right. But you know that if you're following God's commandments and loving Him and loving others, then your days are going to be better. Yeah. Even if things go a little wonky and crazy, like you keep your eye on God in that storm, and I know it. And He's going to bless you and be with you and help you through all of that. And it will be full. Yeah.
full and abundant.
Full.
But not in the way the world sees it.
That's right. Not in the way that we,
Yeah, not in those earthly things that fade away, but the eternal things.
That's right.
That we get to store up in heaven.
That's right. That's right. So then he tells us, never let loyalty and faithfulness leave you. Never let it leave you.
Yeah.
You know, my family was always, that was always the thing. Loyalty, was a biggie.
Yeah.
And but you had some other thoughts, some other versions that gave some other words, and you kind of looked that research up about loyalty and faithfulness. So let's hear some of that.
Yeah, I love being able to see commentaries that other people have talked about this, and lean on God's understanding, which we'll talk about later in Proverbs. And as I'm studying these things, and so the version that the online commentary was using was New King James Version.
Okay.
And mine is ESV, English Standard Version. And so I noticed with these first two is, let not steadfast love and faithfulness forsake you. Well, steadfast love, what they said in the NKJV was mercy. But both steadfast love and mercy come from that same Hebrew word that was originally used. And it's, it means basically the same thing. Like if you're loving and unconditionally loving someone, you're going to show them mercy. And by showing mercy, you are unconditionally and steadfastly loving them. So they make they work together.
And you're being loyal.
And you're being loyal. Exactly. And then the second part of that with faithfulness, they use truth.
Oh yeah.
Faithfulness and truth, like those words, like we don't necessarily put together, like maybe pair together, but not being similar.
Yeah.
We have it though that our God, He is faithful, and
Absolutely.
He's also truthful. He's faithful to His promises. He's faithful to us.
Yes.
He's truthful and unchanging, and He's going to act that way towards us.
Because He is truth.
Yes, He is. He is the truth.
He is truth.
He's the way, the truth,
He
and
is
life.
the truth. The truth. Yeah.
The truth. The definite article.
Yeah.
Yes. So even though we have sometimes those mix of different words in different versions, most of the time they do mean the same thing, and they just it depends on what scholar's looking at them and what part of it they want what word they want to use to get it across.
Sometimes
but they mean the same thing.
But and sometimes it's closer to the Jewish term.
Yes.
The Hebrew term.
Yes.
And it might be richer.
Yeah.
Or more understandable. That's why we have different versions. I use different versions of the Bible. I'm very cautious to always go back to the King James Version, especially when I'm like, okay, I need to understand that. So then I'll go back and I go, okay, does that make sense? And then you kind of pull it together, and that's how you do research. Is that you're back and forth with that.
Yeah.
But this is the part that I love too, because he tells us, he says, never let loyalty and faithfulness, or the other words that you use, what were they?
Truth and faithful.
Steadfast.
Mercy and steadfast love. There we go.
There we go. I knew they were. Sorry, I threw you off there.
No, you're good. Steadfast love and faithfulness and all of those
all
things.
those words. Never leave you. Don't let them leave you.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Write them. First, tie them around your neck.
Yeah.
And so, this is my visual, because I kind of am a visual person, is I thought of, we wear necklaces, right? And they're always adorned. I know my heart, I don't have it. Not my heart, but my cross. I said it somewhere. I couldn't find it. So, but it's talking about that necklace that hangs around your neck, and tie it around your neck. I'm thinking, how do you tie? But it's like a visual of a necklace hanging from your neck. And it hangs right over your heart usually. It's about right there where your heart would be. It's in the area. And so, and when you have a necklace on, it's adorned and it's beautiful and people notice it. And so it's like, it may not be necessarily physically tied around your neck, all of that, but it's shown by your being, by the way you behave, by the way you act.
Yes.
By your obedience, as you said earlier, by your obedience. So I love the visual of that, tying that around the neck. And then he says this, Write them on the tablet of your heart. He's already told us to let your heart keep my commandments, and now he's telling us write them on the tablet of your heart.
Yeah.
And I just read that verse about him putting them in our hearts.
Yes. Yes.
And one of the things in research in the Hebrew word for write is inscribe. Write is not as strong as inscribe, just like the words that you and I just talked about.
Yeah.
But inscribe is more of a carving, deeper.
Yeah, it's intentional.
It's an intentional, yes.
It's more permanent than just
just writing. It's more like etched.
etched.
Yes, etched, carved, into your heart. Yeah. So, to me, that tells me that they are permanent and that they are in.
Yeah.
Definitely, you can't say, I didn't know that. I didn't realize that. I didn't see that. I didn't feel that. Because he has inscribed them on our hearts. Yeah. And he told us that in Matthew. Yes. Right? So I like that. Write them on the tablet of your heart. So that's do all of that. And if you do all of that, then what comes next?
You get favor.
Oh.
And I mean, who doesn't want favor?
I know. I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah. And, it's to have that favor, like, it just, God gets to see you keeping his commands.
Oh, yeah.
And then other people should be able to see God in you.
Yeah.
And, that's just favor. Like, you can just look at someone and say, oh, yeah, they're favored by God.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that doesn't mean that they have the best of everything.
Correct. It's not like...
No, I don't even know how to describe it. Do you? I'm not sure how to describe favor. I thought of, like Mary had favor. I think Joseph also had favor. I was thinking that I had written some others that had favor with God, but I evidently didn't write their name down. Yeah. But to have favor is like high regard. Yeah. To high regard with God. But it wasn't it wasn't just God. You had favor, it says favor with people. Favor with people, yeah. So your reputation, that's kind of how I think of it. Just like your loyalty, your steadfast love, your all the things that we talked about before. Yeah. People see that. Yeah. And so you have favor with them. You have high regard with them. They respect you. If you say something, they're going to anticipate that you're being truthful and honest. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. They're going to want to go to you for advice. You're going to give them that truthful advice, that godly advice, or be reliable in what you say. Yeah. And what you say you're going to do. You're going to do, right? Yeah. Yes. So, wow, that was, so then I kind of thought, okay, let's summarize. Okay. Let's summarize what we've got here. Yeah. So number 1, he says, keep the commands, right? Yeah. Keep the commands. And then he tells us to have loyalty, but he also tells us some of the other words that you said. Steadfast love and mercy. That's right. And to have faithfulness. Yeah. Yeah, faithfulness. And that's how we get to him in the first place, through faithfulness, right? Yes. Through our faith. Yes. And then love. Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to have obedience, because he says keep the commands. That would be obedience, right? Yeah. That would be a good summary, right? We're also going to have mercy, right? I like the word mercy that you shared. Yeah. We're going to be faithful, because we're going to have faithfulness. And then we're going to have, just put all that around a little heart, and we're going to have love, right? That's what it all comes down to. That's right. It's really... I've read that before, and it's just like, and that's what Jesus said, love. Yeah. Yeah. So Old Testament, New Testament, it all wraps around trust and love. Yeah. I mean, this is the greatest love story ever told. Ah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So I guess that's our first 4 verses. That's our first 4 verses. A lot. Yay. A lot to go through. But yeah, so keep commandments, and and
Like you were saying, just
I know. It's just you didn't realize how much was packed in 4 verses.
oh yeah,
I know, because we initially when we talked, okay, we'll do 3 sessions and we'll be done.
Yeah,
Well, we're not getting past we're doing 3 sessions and 8 verses.
Yes, yeah.
So we're going to be in this a while, but I rather us understand.
Yeah.
And really get something out of it and take our time. And this is kind of how they flowed. I think just to kind of give you a little idea, we're going to have probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 sessions to be able to, I'm not sure what the title of each one will be because there's so much packed in those 4 verses. And we kind of summarized that already. So I look forward to sharing with you our next, I don't know how many verses it'll be, but our next session, and learn more about being able to trust in what we have to do to get to that place where we faithfully, truly, fully, I like that word, trust.
Yeah.
So, till next time.
See y'all later.
See you later.
Bye.